The year is 1999. The very next day, it's going to be the year 2000. Maybe you remember that as vividly as I did. And 2000 was going to be the year that I got in shape, that I lost weight, that I did all the right things, and I was going to get myself totally on track. The problem was I was focused on the problem. Let me repeat that. The problem with where I was sitting on December 31st of 1999 is I was focused on the problem. And here's what the problem was. The problem was I weighed too much. I ate too much junk. I was not moving my body, and I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was sleep deprived. I was tired. I was fatigued. And I remember sitting down with two of my girlfriends in my room, and I was like, okay, like this is going to be the year. I'm going to get abs, and I'm going to eat healthy, and I'm going to get to the gym, and I'm going to do all these things. And they're like, yeah, you go, right? Like you've had those moments where people are like, yeah, you can do it. And in the back of my head, I'm like, but how am I going to do that? I want to read you this line because this literally 2 nights ago came out of a book, and I was like, oh my gosh, it took me back to that 1999 moment. And here's exactly what this book says. The problem with how we attack our problems is that we go after the problem. That was me in 1999 and for many years after that, because every year was the year I was going to get fit and I was going to get healthy and I was going to lose the 20 pounds or the 30 pounds, right? Because you don't stop gaining weight once you start gaining it. I just kept on gaining it. And all of a sudden I had 30 pounds to lose. But focusing on the problem, going after the problem, it's never the way to solve the problem. Think about that for a second and reflect back on your own life for a sec, right? I got to stop eating this junk food. So you're like, okay, like what do I have to do? And let's just walk through what I did. It was like, okay, I got to do my workout and I got to get on the treadmill and I got to do abs and I got to eat like more vegetables and I got to eat clean. I didn't even know what the heck that meant, to be honest with you. And I'm like, and I'm going to go to bed earlier. Well, guess what happened on January 1st, 2000? I didn't do any of it. I was like, tomorrow, right? It was the new year. It's okay. Like it's fine tomorrow. And the same thing happened the next day and the next day and the next day. And I'm sure that you can relate to yourself in this pattern of I'll get to it. Yep, I'll do it. Let's just start clean tomorrow. We're going to start clean next Monday. We're going to start clean next week, month, year, you name it. All the way from me up until 2010. I mean, that is a decade of trying to figure it out because I was focused on the problem. You don't solve a problem by being focused on the problem. Think about this. It snows. You have 4 feet of snow, like high in your driveway. Are you going to sit there and focus on the fact that there's 4 feet of snow on your driveway? Are you going to go get a damn shovel and start shoveling the snow? Or are you going to get a snowblower or call the plow guy or get your family and your kids outside and be like, all right, let's get the snow out of the way, right? Instead of ruminating on the problem, which is what we so often do with health and fitness, because I believe there's so much information out there. What should we be focusing on instead? Well, what happened for me in 2010 is all of a sudden a goal became really important. And that goal for me personally was getting on a fitness stage. I mean, it was the furthest thing from anything I thought I could do. It's always something I wanted, like in the deepness of my soul. I was like, maybe one day, like by some miracle, I'll be able to do that. But I definitely never believed that I could because I was so busy focusing on the problem. So think about yourself right now. What problem are you so focused on that you can't even see the solution? And then you have all the noise of, today's Instagram and Facebook. Thank God I did not have that back then. I mean, I would have gotten lost in a Pinterest board, down an Instagram rabbit hole, or on Reels. I mean, come on. It is too easy to just fill your brain up with a whole bunch of junk and then do absolutely nothing about it. So what happened in 2010? Well, here's what happened. Mike, my now husband, said to me, you should do a fitness show with me. Now, right away, because I was very big into personal growth and self-development, you would never know it looking at my body. But on the inside, I had begun working on myself long before that moment. And I learned that rather than saying like, why am I heavy? Or why aren't I sleeping better? Why don't I eat better? Why do I eat so much junk? Because quite frankly, those are really terrible questions to ask yourself. You're not going to get any answers. I started asking myself, how can I? All right, how can I eat healthier? How can I start to work out? I mean, when he said 30-minute workouts, I was like, I could do that. No problem, right? I was doing like 90 minutes twice a day, by the way, in college, because, it just makes sense. Do more, eat less, do more. Well, that was BS, right? That was a belief system, and it was a flawed belief system at that. So I said, how can I? How can I eat healthier? Well, I could get to the store and make a list. And, I learned about shopping the perimeters and I started to implement that. And then I was like, okay, how can I get these workouts in? Well, fortunately, I had a great accountability buddy, Mike. I know you're jealous, but there's an accountability buddy that's perfect for you. And I was like, okay, how can I get to the gym? And it's when he carved out time, I had to show up. Otherwise, I would have had a very unhappy boyfriend. Now, maybe for you that doesn't work. You're like, oh, my husband or my boyfriend or my wife or whatever doesn't want to work out with me. So find somebody else, right? My workout buddy this morning was Sarah. Sarah is my workout buddy. And I love that we get to work out together. We hold each other accountable. It's in the calendar, 11 o'clock. We showed up. We were there. Then I said to myself, okay, how can I go to bed earlier? Or how can I get more sleep? Well, you could take a nap during the day or you could go to bed a little bit earlier at night, right? As we start to stop focusing, I know it sounded confusing, but stop focusing on the problem and start focusing on the how can I solve it? Think about it. Snow in the driveway. How can I get this snow out of my driveway? Shovel, snow blower, plow. I mean, short of throwing salt on it and a blowtorch, I don't really know what your other options are. You're going to figure it out. But we ruminate in the problem to the extent that we don't solve the problem. We don't solve the problem. And then we feel bad about the fact we didn't solve the problem. And then we have guilt over the fact that we feel bad about the fact that we didn't solve the problem. And that's just a whole cascade of hormonal crap that goes on inside your body that pulls you further away from your goal anyway. You're a metabolic nightmare on the inside because of your emotions. Isn't that amazing? Now you know that's all connected. You're like, wow, that totally makes sense. So how can I focus on this thing? How can I get more of that? Or how can I get less of that? Or how can I figure this out? Your brain, just like mine, wants to solve problems. It wants to solve problems. It's literally, I didn't plan on doing this, but I'm doing it. I can put this up right now for you. Okay. And everyone's like, okay, boom. Your brain just solved the problem. You can't look at that and be like, oh, 1 and a 1 and a, immediately your brain says 2. Crazy, right? I'm going to give you one more. Oh, you guys are going to think I'm funny. I didn't plan on doing this. Otherwise, I would have had them pre-written. All right, here's your next question. Okay, what did your brain tell you? Your brain wants to solve problems. I just proved that to you. You're not reading the words and being like, what color is the sky? Your brain is like, boom, it's blue. You are designed to be a problem solver. So stop focusing on the problem and start focusing on the how can I find the solution. That's exactly what I did in 2010. And here we are now, 11 years later, and still to this day, it's hilarious to me when people are like, oh my gosh, like your arms or your body or your skin. And I'm like, you have no idea, right? You don't really know anybody's story. I struggled with my body and my skin and my arms. I hated the body and the skin that I was put in. I hated the fact that I couldn't get my eating right. I hated myself for having icing in my closet with a spoon so that I could eat it and put it back. It doesn't get much worse than that, guys, right? Stop focusing on the problem. Start focusing on the solution. Ask yourself, how can I? And insert in what it is that you want to solve. And I promise you're going to find the answer. You're going to find the answer. That is all I have. I am sending you love and goodness and light. I'm fired up today for you because that's what this is about, right? It's not about me at all. This is absolutely all about you. And I cannot wait to hear what solutions you came to when you ask yourself better questions and stop focusing on the problem. Have an outstanding day, you guys, and we will catch up real soon.